this video I'm gonna tell you everything about Continental TKC 80. Why do I decided to use them again? What is my experience with the model? And what kind of mileage I do expect from these tires. So if you have nothing to do, grab your favorite drink and stay with me. Welcome back. I would like to start first with this, that this is not an affiliate video and I'm not paid from Continental in any way. The rear tire was a gift for my birthday from my riding friends, and the front tire I bought with my own money last year when I came back from Magadan. It doesn't mean that when I am paid from someone or when I do these reviews here and there, they're not honest. No, but now you have no reason to think something else. Maybe the first question that you would like to ask me right now is why do I decided to buy these Continental TKC 80 tires when there are so many different brands and models on the market that will last longer and they're way cheaper? And the answer actually is very simple. First, because I only trust my personal experience, and second is because the opinion of other people is always subjective. And I always trust only myself, because what is best for one could be not so good or disaster for another. So guys, as I told you, I always rely on my personal experience only. I will never discuss things that I haven't seen or I haven't experienced by myself personally. Things like someone told me, or this guy said that is good, or this guy said that this is very good. No, I don't talk like that. Everything is my personal experience. So these tires, I used to use them a lot. I wore a lot of sets of these Continental TKC 80 tires on my trips. I test them on any kind of terrain. Good roads, bad roads, potholes, rain, mud, sand, anything you can imagine. I know exactly what they can and what they cannot do. I cannot tell you that this is the best adventure tire, even though it is the best for me, because we are all different and got different expectations from our motorcycles, our trips and our tires. But it is definitely something that you have to consider if you plan an adventure trip. Of course, the understanding of adventure trip is different for everyone. But let me say it this way, if your trip includes some bad roads, potholes, road terrain, maybe muddy gravel, stones or sand, I highly doubt that you'll be able to find a better solution than this tire. As I said, I use them on many of my trips. I've got thousands of kilometers on it. Good roads around Europe, rainy conditions, very bad roads, a lot of potholes, hill climbing, dirt roads, a lot of sand, muddy conditions and anything that you can imagine. I cannot even remember a moment or situation where I was disappointed from this type of tires. They have always been there to help me and go through everything that I asked, even more. I use them also on my winter trip through Europe. I went to the patches of snow and ice, my motorcycle stuck to the ice and just work kilometer after kilometer, so minus 10, minus 12, minus 15 degrees. The whole motorcycle was covered by ice. The spokes were covered by ice, but the tires works. Of course, I cannot say that they were always brilliant, because I don't believe that you can find a tire that will be perfect in all riding conditions. This is just impossible. But they were providing this decent traction on the road and very good, almost perfect traction off the road. And of course, I understand that if you want 100% traction off-road, you should go for 100% off-road tire. They are way better. But I do know that to get to the point that you will have this off-road or these dirt roads, you will still need to cover many kilometers. And with off-road tire on the asphalt roads, yeah, it will be way more different. Off-road tires are maybe a topic for another video, we're not gonna discuss it now. But because of the reason that I just told you, they never been on my radar. I always want to have something that will help me on the road and also will hold my motorcycle off the road. And that's why this adventure type of tires came into my mind. In my opinion, the motorcycle and the tires need to be prepared for the most difficult part of the trip. So for example, if you have planned 10,000 kilometers trip, but from this 10,000 kilometers you're gonna have 1,000 kilometers very hard off-road tracks, you have to prepare the motorcycle and have the proper tires exactly for this 1,000 8,000 kilometers. Alright, Pavlin, you may say, but if I follow your logic, will it be better to have this 100% off-road tires for this 1,000 kilometers? They'll provide the necessary traction and I'll be way more safe and everything is going to be way more better, right? Yes, absolutely. But what about the rest of the kilometers? What are you gonna do on the rest 9,000 kilometers with these off-road tires? In the best scenario, they will last something like maybe 3, maybe 4,000 kilometers, and your traction will be seriously compromised, especially in the rain or some kind of really flat and smooth asphalt roads. So they will finish very quick and they'll provide no traction. Of course, the best scenario is going to be if you have the chance to change them before the hard section and then change them once again once you get out from there. But most of us travel usually on budget, and tires are a big chunk of this budget, and that's why we're always looking for some kind of compromise. Alright, let's now discuss the pros and cons of this model. Let's start with the pros. Number one, they will provide more than decent traction on the road. So unless you prefer to travel with more than 140-150 kilometers per hour, these tires will serve you well in almost any conditions. I have heard some people complain about the rain. They are not so stable on the rain. I personally haven't experienced it on my trips with my rides, but I'm not a real example because I don't ride fast. Usually I ride with 100-120 kilometers per hour, and of course when it starts rain I even slow down. So maybe if you ride really fast, even though it is written on the tire maximum 160 kilometers per hour, so if you ride more than this, if you make these fast tricky maneuvers in the rain, they might be not for you. But as I said, if you ride normally, they will serve you very, very well. Number two, almost perfect traction off-road. As I said, dry, wet roads, grass, muddy, stones, sand, anything, you name it. They will be almost perfect. I highly doubt that you will find another tire that will work so well on all of these conditions, except 100% off-road tire, but we already talked about it. Number three, they are made from soft compound, and because of that it is easy to change them on the road. And as you know, this is critical when you go on an adventure trip. Based on my experience with similar tires, especially last year on my trip to Magadan, where I had this Midos 09 Dakar tires, this one is like a piece of cake to change. On my trip to Magadan with this Midos 09 tires, when I got a flat tire first time, it was the front tire, it took me 1.5 hours to change it. And it is something that I usually do for 20 minutes. This is exactly how much time it took me to change the front here, 20 minutes. Over there, 1.5 hours, because it was so hard. So I will never buy again Midas 09 Dakar tires because of that reason. So it is very, very important to be able to change it on the road. That's why this number 3 is maybe the biggest plus or the most heaviest argument that I have for these tires. Funny fact is that in the last 3-4 years I have 0 flats on my trips. But last year, on the trip to Magadan, 4 tires altogether, 2 front and 2 rear, just to learn the lesson once again, to reconcrete my thoughts with the experience that I have had. And the reason I've got this Midas 09 instead of TKC 80, first I was looking for TKC 80, but they did not have it in Russia. Because of the sanctions, the whole import was blocked. So the only tire that I was able to find was this Midas 09. And even though they look very similar to the TKC 80, I mean the buttons and the pattern, everything looks very similar, they are completely different tires. They have many different differences, and one of them, and maybe the most important, is the compound. They are very hard. So as I said, I will never buy them again. Number 4 is that it has very clever design. You can see by yourself that this tire is made with the idea of off-road riding. You can see that the gap is very wide open here. I can put one fat finger, even this one, and here and there, which just means that it won't clog with a mud after just a few seconds of spinning in the bad terrains. And not only this, but also because the gaps are so wide open, when you ride, when the tire is actually spinning, it will self-cleaning. As I said, it is designed to be used on many different terrains, and the gap is big, but also the buttons are big, which is mean that these wide and big buttons will provide the necessary traction on the road, and the gaps between the buttons will provide the necessary self-cleaning of the road. And this is a perfect combination. On some models like a Heidenau K60 Scout or Midas 07, you can see a wide center line here. That is very good when you ride on the road and provide the necessary longevity, but it's very bad when you go on the dirt or muddy roads. Also, you can see that this TKC 80 has buttons right on the edge of the tire, which really helps when you ride in uneven terrains or trenches dug from a big heavy machines or tractors or even cars. So this really helps to hold the tire, to hold the motorcycle in the same line. And the last, number 5, is good build quality. These tires used to be made in Germany, or at least I bought a lot of tires made in Germany, but not anymore. Now they're made in Korea, but even so the build quality has no changes. It is visually, when you see it visually, it looks very good. The quality of the compound looks good. As I said, it is soft, it is easy to do the montage and anything. And also, I never had any problems with these tires. Even on the balance machines, they never got more than 20-30 grams of disbalance. If you know, maybe you don't, but to balance your tires is also very important. If you don't balance your tires properly, you will wear your wheel bearings much faster. So as I said, with these tires, I never had problems with the balance machines, and they never had more than 20-30 grams. It happens with another type of tire, I'm not going to say the brand, that has more than 130 grams disbalance, which is mean that the compound is not even, and whatever you do, you cannot fix this tire. So far so good, but let's now talk about the cons. Number 1 is the price. Front I bought for 130 euros, and the rear I spoke with the guys and they told me that it is around 200 euros, a little bit less than 200 euros here in Bulgaria. So if you decided to change a set, front and rear, you buy a new tubes and pay for montage and balance and everything, in Bulgaria you will easily go to 400, maybe 420-30 euros. In Europe, it will be around 500 euros because the labor is more expensive. So this is a lot of money. I used to buy these tires, the set front and rear, for 200-220 euros in Germany, include tubes and montage, but not anymore. Now, as I said, around 500 euros. And maybe around 5 or 6 years ago, when the price started to move, I switched to Midas 07 or different tires because they were still cheap compared to this. These were not so cheap. But in the last year or so, even Midas rose their prices. So now the difference is just like 50-60 lefts per tire. And that's why I decided to go back to the tires that I know very well. And they are, in my opinion, way better than Midas. And the price is about the same. The second is longevity. On a motorcycle like mine, loaded with minimum luggage, which is mean around 220 kilograms altogether, and with my riding style, 100 to 120 kilometers per hour, I can get between 9 and maximum 10,000 kilometers from these tires. But if you have a heavy motorcycle, GS 1200, KTM 1290 or Yamaha Super Tenere, especially if you ride fast 140, 50, 60 kilometers per hour on the highways, you might get 4, maybe 5,000 kilometers. If you're very lucky, or if you're gentle here and there, you might get even 6,000 kilometers. So this is a big problem for many people, and I really understand that. But I also know that the tires are the only thing that keeps you on the road. And if you make a compromise with the tires, if you decided to go for longevity instead of traction, you might have one very expensive or even priceless, unreversible lesson that I cannot even imagine. Here, some people might argue with me and said that it will be way more risky if you lose your traction on the road because you're riding with a high speed and you might have also an accident with another vehicle. So it is important to have very good traction with the tires that you have at the moment. But partly I will agree with this, it is important. But I also know that on the road, on the normal asphalt roads, you can always slow down and adjust your riding style regarding to the conditions in the tires that you have with you at the moment, but you won't have any options once you enter a dirt road with a very heavy motorcycle and wrong tires. You can't do anything about it. On the road you can, off-road you cannot really do anything. That's why I said it is very important to prepare the motorcycle for the most difficult part of the trip, because the rest you can easily manage, but not this part where the traction is going to be crucial. Thank you very much for taking the time and watching this long video. Press like or dislike, whatever it deserves. If you subscribe, even better. Don't forget that if you want to watch my travel videos, you can do it on my second channel, Motorcycle Adventures Live. Over there I upload videos from Magadan at the moment. After that there will be another videos, wherever I go, all the travel videos will be there. On my third channel, Motorcycle Adventures Live Streams, I upload live streams once per week. They are just a little edited and uploaded for everyone who wants to see it for free. All the details will be in the description down below. See you next time.